Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week we talk about success and everything that goes along with it. You'll learn the principles of success, how to achieve success, and learn to overcome challenges that may be getting in the way of success in your life. You'll hear from Bill Napick, a radio personality and business development expert, along with insight from special guests. If you're ready to find your path to success or take the success you're enjoying to the next level, stay tuned. Successful Living with Bill Napick is on right now.
And welcome to the show, Successful Living with Bill Napick, and today a cast of thousands, Successful Living with Tex Christopher and Manfred Sternberg. Going to have a great show today. As always, this is where America tunes in to hear great talk all the time, interesting people, and today we're going to talk about success. We're going to talk about the movie and TV business coming to Houston, and the man that's going to start that thrust, his name is Tex Christopher. Tex, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Thank you.
And the name Tex, you're bringing Hollywood right here to Houston. That's exciting, Tex.
Well, I'll tell you what, someone has to do it. There's been a lot of people that have talked about it in the past. And when you get a good team of people together, there isn't anything that can't be accomplished.
Indeed. And it sounds like you have assembled that team. This whole thing is in progress. So let's tell people about what you're doing and your company. It's TexChristopherStudios.com. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. So let's tell them the story.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're on a mission to go ahead and create about 20,000 jobs right here in the state of Texas in the area of TV and film. And we have a $150 million slate that consists of 14 motion pictures and one TV series. The TV series, I'm going to go ahead and do it on the east side of Houston, right there off of Navigation Canal, the whole east side from Navigation to Texas Avenue. And so really putting a big spotlight over there. So it's going to create some local jobs of about 2,100 just on that one TV series alone. We're going to get started on that towards the end of the summer. So really excited about that. The community's getting excited about it. And the other 14 motion pictures, we're going to be shooting those here in Texas as well as abroad. But it's going to create a lot of jobs right here in Texas.
Very exciting. And what is the timeline of this? I mean, this is just what you mentioned there is so ambitious. That chunk is very exciting and ambitious at the same time. So what is the timeline? Did this already start? And what kind of preparation have you made? And what will people see next when they hear more about Tex Christopher and Tex Christopher Studios?
Well, sure. When you go to production, that's the shortest time of it, and post-production at the same time. The pre-production is what takes the longest. So this has been in the making for about a good year now. And what we're doing is we're having the finances being put in place. So then we'll actually start production. So we'll have the TV series that will be being done later on this summer. We'll go ahead and we'll complete 2 motion pictures already here in Texas. Be done, as we say in the industry, it'll be a wrap. And so we're looking at that probably all being done before Christmas. For sure. So already started and then completed. So 2 of the motion pictures and TV series done and completed. The other ones will go ahead and already be started, but then it'll take some time to go ahead and complete those. So that's how we'll finish 2017.
Very interesting. And for the consumer, those that are movie fans like me and certain TV shows I've been a fan for years. They inspire the imagination. In fact, just a quick story on as far as TV goes. I remember being a little boy back many, many years ago watching TV, and that was my window into the world. And that, quite frankly, it inspired me to go out and visit and travel. And from that time, I've done so many things and got to see the world. And I kind of thank that TV for giving me that window and that ambition to go out there and see what it was all about. So I think it's very, very beneficial. So give us an idea. And when we think about the finished product, again, as the person that's out there, the finished product, there's so much business that goes into TV and movie production. We don't think about it. We watch that finished product and we say, hey, that's super awesome. But give us a little idea of all the things that take place from the business standpoint. And then, we have to get some actors and actresses and sometimes even stars. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Well, how we got started here is behind the scenes is that our team consists of the very top people in their fields. And so our studio is broken up in the area of politics. Everything's political on the face of the planet. So it's all about relationships and maximizing those relationships. We have a distribution, we have budget finance, and we have talent. And so when all four of them came together, what we did is we focused on maximizing our relationships that we already had in the industry to go ahead and facilitate everything. So our studios consist of the behind the scenes of investment bankers, the tax attorneys, the business managers, the directors, the producers, the actors. And when they all come together, that's what sets up for a successful model. Without it, then people will go around talking, but then there's no action and nothing ever comes. So that's what's been notorious here in the state of Texas, where other people would go to California, they get a few projects underneath their belt, and then they come back and they say, hey, I'm going to do a movie, I'm going to do a TV series. But they lack the four things that I just mentioned that builds up our studios, and then the team behind the scenes. It does take time. A lot of this is all legal issues, right? So first you got to come in, you have to bond projects. Once you get them bonded, which takes about 100 days just to a bond. Takes money to bond them first,
it
right?
sounds like a building permit.
It does. First, you got to have the money. Then you go ahead, you come in and you bond it. And then there's more legal work. And then there's schedules, and it's coordinating with the who's available to direct when, what movie stars are available to work when. Then there's insurance issues. You got to have everything being covered under insurance. What happens if there's a flood? What happens if there's a hurricane? If you're shooting during hurricane season? What
if the star breaks their arm or something?
Oh, exactly. And now, are we going to lose money? Are we going to make money? Are we going to be under budget, on budget, over? So there's a lot that goes into behind the scenes. But you have to have a forecast, and you have to have a plan. You have to work that plan. And then we're only as strong as the weakest people on the team. And so what we've done here at Tex Christopher Studios is literally we are getting the best of the best, and we're all focused on one goal. We're here to do things differently than the way that things have been being done in the industry.
And to keep it simple for people as they want to keep track, and as the TV shows and the movies emerge, that will be posted on your site. Again, texchristopherstudios.com, right?
That is correct.
Okay. The other thing that comes to mind when we think about actors and actresses, there are all ranges of costs for an individual to be in a TV or a movie, right down to people that volunteer. I guess that would be called extras. Then you have your big stars, and they cost a lot, and then you have everywhere in between. So as the person that's bringing all this together, Tex, how do you know how much money to put here? And the stars are pretty expensive, right?
Well, that they are. And I start every day by looking at the weather, and I tell people, say, you know what? Well, it's beautiful today, so I'm feeling like this. And everyone's like, whoo, glad I called you today. But yes, there's a lot of costs that's involved, and those decisions have to be made. And everyone brings something to the table, and they're worth their own weight. And so we go ahead and we pay accordingly. And all those things are to be discussed, worked out, hashed out. And then most of my projects is an average of about $10 million a piece. And so these are not small projects, these are big projects. And that's the difference between Tex Christopher Studios and other people that have come back to Texas from Hollywood. Most projects that are done here in Texas are small. And so we're doing everything on a big scale. So that's why everyone's excited.
And also, I would think that here in Houston, Texas, and Texas in general, we have some favorable business conditions.
That we do. Number one, people get to keep more of their hard-earned money in the state. And right now, currently in California, people have to pay the state tax over there, right? And so the state of Texas doesn't have any state income tax. So people are excited about coming here, number one, and then getting to do business here. And we have incentives that are in place, and it depends on what kind of industries that are out there. But we have a beautiful landscape. We have huge opportunity. We're, the seventh largest economy in the world, so we're doing pretty good.
I know they bat around the term we are the fourth largest city, and a lot of people, in fact, I talked to the chief of police not that long ago, and we're soon to be the third largest city, they keep telling me. Now, here's a good topic, and that is when people, this is an ambitious undertaking. You're a very driven individual. We talk about success on this show. What is your thought when people say it can't be done? Because there's going to always be naysayers in any business. So how do you discern that? But when they say, Tex, there's no way. It's been tried before, but this can't be done right here in Houston or in Texas. What does that do when you're thinking about your projects?
Well, there you go. Well, let's just start off with this. I'm a retired professional bull rider. and champion bull rider. And so when you take a 165-pound man versus a 2,000-pound beast, the odds are totally against you in the first place. So you got to have true grit, literally, and you have to be very courageous. You have to go out there and say, it doesn't matter what the statistics are. It doesn't matter what the people say. And it's you against the world each and every single day. I start my day off by naysayers. As soon as I wake up and I get on my Facebook accounts, there they are. They're all right there saying it can't be done. It can't be done. So bottom line is this. The takers in the world, those are the ones that have the poor attitude. Those are the ones that say it can't be done. You listen to their verbiage, and you have to realize that they're the ones that they're not creating anything. And it's the creators that are the special people in the world that create things for others to enjoy. It's all part of embracing being a true leader, not a follower. And so we speak a different language. We walk a different walk. And bottom line is this. The world gets to enjoy that we take the naysayers and all the haters hate, that's what they do, and say, okay, I must be doing something right. And that right there fuels me to no end. When somebody says, Tex, it can't be done, my response is watch. And when people Google my name, I'm all about results. I'm a very black and white, straightforward. I'm very direct, on, off. I'm not lukewarm. And because I'm so direct, I just look people right in the eye and I'm like, watch. Because it's all about results. And one thing that I can't stand personally is people that talk and talk and talk with no action. And it's the results. So I have tremendous amount of victories in my past that motivate and inspire me. And I just look back sometimes and say, look what I've already accomplished. And that's my foundation.
And that's great because a lot of us have goals, we have business ideas, and we have all those things. But if we do not execute them, I mean, I bet there's so many great ideas that have never been acted upon. So action is the key. Execution, you must do that. So when we set our goals, quite frankly, we want to make sure that we do that, and we have to have the right mindset as we go forth.
That you do. You can wake up every day and ask yourself, hey, am I serious or curious about my dreams? Are the actions that I'm taking today, do they lean towards one or the other? And so you have to make that decision each and every single day, and you have to keep yourself in check. And the haters will always be out there asking you and badgering you. The old African proverb, the lion doesn't turn his head when the chihuahua barks. You have to be very disciplined. You have to be so focused, and you have to tune all that out. But you have to listen to what's inside you. And don't be afraid to ask yourself those questions.
Now, obviously, you have a passion for business, Tex, but also for the movie and TV industry, and you must be a fan of movies and TV yourself. What is it that you love, and what inspires you about stories and seeing it on the screen, whether it's a TV or at the movie theater?
Well, you know what? It's the past. I remember growing up, and there was always plenty to be able to watch. And it was good to watch, and it was okay, and it was safe to watch. And unfortunately, I hear all too often, well, there just isn't anything good to go and watch at the movies. So I want to be able to share stories that need to be told, and in a good, positive way, because people imitate what it is that they see. And I want to create things that's worthy of people imitating what it is that they saw. And I know one day I'll be held accountable on Judgment Day and say, hey, what did you create? What was it that people were imitating? So I feel that true stories need to be told over and over and over. They need to be done in a positive light. And there's a lot of good things that need to be shared with the world. And I want to be someone who shared it.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, Tex Christopher. Go to TexChristopherStudios.com. Tex is going to stay with us. And now we are joined by Manfred Sternberg. Manfred, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate being here.
And give us an idea. First of all, Manfred, you are an attorney, and tell us about your expertise, and tell us the website, too.
Okay. So I've been practicing law for 32 years here in Texas, and I'm board certified in consumer and commercial law. So I'm that lawyer that you would come to for a business problem or something that you didn't know what to do, but I'm that guy that you would come to. ManfredLaw.com is my website.
That's an easy name to remember, too. I love that name, Manfred. We don't hear it enough, Manfred Law. And also, give us an idea, some of the things when we talk about success, Manfred, to be in the world, and we're talking, even as we talk about movies, TV, any business endeavor has so many details. And when we talk about law, you take those details and you look at them word for word, and one time they mean one thing, and another time, quite frankly, it can drive you crazy. How do you manage, and how are you so successful as an attorney with details?
Well, that's what it's all about, is detail. When Tex was talking about all the things that they have to do to make a movie, all I could think about was there's someone that needs to review that, someone that needs to review that to advise you on this. It is a world of laws, right? And so, to be successful, and I've represented entrepreneurs for over 30 years, to be successful, number one, you got to get out of bed. There's nobody to tell you to get out of bed. You got to get out of bed yourself.
Leave the house.
Leave the house. Do something, but actually do something. Don't talk about it. Do something. There's a great story about a guy named Fred Smith. He was at Harvard Business School, and he wrote a little paper on something called FedEx. The teacher said, it's a C. It'll never work. And the rest is sort of history.
So he's the guy that started FedEx, huh?
He's the guy that started FedEx. The smart, brainy professor at Harvard said it would never work. Well, that's a great example of don't listen to those people. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing, and maybe they're not taking the risks that you and I might take, or have the vision or the drive that you and I might have to actually get something accomplished in your life.
And no doubt about it. That's that idea of when people tell us it can't be done. And quite frankly, sometimes certain things can't be done. However, discernment comes in, but drive, ambition, and being wise and having that discernment. In your world, Manfred, how do you discern when something is right or wrong, or better yet, whether you should go forward or not?
Right. Well, you need to have a plan. You need to know your market. You need to really know your market, and you really need to execute. So venture capitalists will invest in companies, but really what they invest in is people that can execute. Because if you can't execute, you could have the greatest plan in the world, but if you can't execute, it doesn't matter. Great plan, poor execution. So what investors are looking for is the team that's going to execute. Can they execute? And if the plan is good, and even maybe if it's not so good, if you got a great team to execute, they'd invest in that rather than a great plan with people who no way can execute. So execution is everything.
It really is. And also, when I think about this, going back to the idea, and it could go as basic before there was even electricity, but that whole idea of movies, TV, it goes back to storytelling. Even in the business world, there have been many books, especially recently written, about when we give a presentation, whatever we do, the importance of storytelling. Because right away, even if it's a business proposal or a real estate agent with a listing, you've got to draw people in. And it's something about putting it in story form that we have loved for centuries. And I imagine primitive man sat around the fire. They probably told stories. You think that, Tex?
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, the old saying, facts tell, stories sell. Everyone's always telling a story, and stories are to be told over and over, and a good one will be passed down for generations.
And that's right. I do have to reference this. I don't know if you saw on Netflix the series The People versus O.J. I found that incredible in so many ways. Every actor and actress did a knockout job. How about Robert Shapiro, John Travolta as Shapiro? And was it Courtney Vance, is that his name, that played Johnny Cochran? And what you just said, I remember it so well, when they sat around, of course, the paraphrasing of the whole event, if you would, and that's when Johnny Cochran's team sat around him, and they said, well, Johnny, the facts go from here, here, and here. And Johnny says, wait, we're going to tell a better story. And guess what they did?
That's what trial lawyers do. We tell stories to juries, and hopefully they believe what you're telling them and the story that you're painting for them. But you've got to paint a picture for a jury so that the jury will see what you're saying and what your client is is trying to accomplish.
Exactly. And that makes me think of the idea of that all three of us and many people out there listening in our various professions, we're out there presenting things to people for them to either accept, buy onto, or to reject, or to think about for later. So give us an idea from a presentation, whatever it may be, Manfred, from your point of view, what are some of the things that you think about when you're perhaps a jury? Let's take that as an attorney. What are some of the things you think about to be successful when you're presenting your case?
Right. If keeping it simple, that's just as simple as I can make it.
That's
Keep it
worth $1
simple.
million right there.
That's it. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Keep it simple, because people don't like complexity. They like simple. And if you can explain it to people in simple fashion and they understand it, then they're more likely to go with you than if you show them something very complex that is very hard to discern what's right and what's wrong. You might lose the jury. So you've always got to keep it simple for people. And especially if you're telling a story, boil it down. If you can't explain it in an elevator ride, it probably is too complex. You've heard the elevator pitch.
Exactly.
Have an elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch is not a 100-story elevator pitch. It's a 10-story elevator pitch where you've got 20 seconds to tell your story.
And I also think about it when we're talking about the courtroom and telling the story simply. If two attorneys go to the jury and one is a little too complex, he's probably going to lose. I'm just guessing. Now, Tex, what about you? And as you're assembling all these moving parts to go forth with a successful movie and TV business right here in Houston and in Texas, what are the things you think about as you present your ideas to, say, to bankers, attorneys, to even getting that right actor or actress for the role, because they're looking at these things too and saying, hey, I don't know if I want to be part of the project. How do you present it? I think you're a master presenter.
Oh, hey, I got this one mastered. Always be closing. ABCs.
There you go. Glenn Garrett, Glenn Ross.
You got it, man. You got to learn from the best. And have something good to say it often, and say it well.
Coffee's for closers. Remember that?
That's right. That's right. Are you getting coffee this morning? Yes or no?
That's a good way to put it, and that is so right. Because every day we are really, even if it's to our children, trying to get our children to do something, the presentation and the thought that goes along with it is so important, right?
Most definitely. Absolutely.
And everybody is in sales. From lawyers, they may say, oh, no, we're not in sales, but they're selling to juries. Everybody's in sales. And if you don't make sales, you don't have income. So everybody's in sales. So if you don't think you're in sales, think again. Everybody is.
The sooner you realize you're in sales, the better off you're going to be, and even your family, right?
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. And it's if you don't think you're in sales, then hopefully you got somebody that is.
Indeed. Now, Manfred, say with the minute or so here on the show, what else would you like people to know about your practice or anything else?
Well, we've been doing real estate for, over 30 years. And so real estate issues, commercial litigation is what we do as well. We try to come up with innovative solutions, try to resolve things instead of going to the courthouse. But sometimes you have to go to the courthouse. You got to be ready to go to the courthouse in order to resolve certain things. So you want somebody in your corner like me.
Manfred, yes. And the website, Manfred, is?
Manfred Law, MANFREDLAW, Manfred Law.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Manfred, Sternberg, and Tex. What else would you like people to know as we have another minute or so left?
Hey, I tell you what, you can get more information about everything that's coming right here in Texas at TexChristopherStudios.com. I want to motivate and inspire someone who's listening to the show today that bottom line is this: when others tell you no, you show them yes. Thank you for having me on the show today.
In fact, and I do want to reference another thing. On your website, I saw this just the other day, and that is you are actually right. A lot of people may not know, listening outside of Houston, and even those Houstonians may not know Howard Hughes is buried right here down the road, not far from this studio. And,
That's right.
And you did a video in front of his grave where you talked about how successful he was in so many things, and that how people probably told him no very often, but yet he went on to build businesses that still are influencing the economy around the world today, right?
That's right. Hey, you got to get the no's to get your yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Tex Christopher. Go to TexChristopherStudios.com. And Manfred Sternberg, thank you, gentlemen, for being on Successful Living with Bill Napick. So glad you joined us. And stay with us. Next week, we will be back here again. Go to Bill Napick Radio Shows. That's my YouTube channel. You can see the show. You can hear it again and again. You can hear all the shows. Once again, Bill Napick Radio Shows. That's K is silent. Bill Napick. Check me out. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. And listen to Real Estate Matters at 1 o'clock on this same station. I'll be there too. Bye.